Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Sean, and we're here with another part to our series that we're doing here on YouTube, as long as they keep letting us put the information out. Now, YouTube, we're not talking about all Jewish people. We're talking about one family, and that is the Rothschild family. So 99.9% of Jewish people are nice and beautiful people, and we're not talking about those people. We're talking about these KHAZARIan and KHAZARIan Mafia that's running our world, and we're going to get right into it. I just want to let everybody know we're going to continue the series, and you can find this information out for yourself. My friend Stefan just said to me, he looked it up, and some of this stuff, people try to debunk it, but when you notice that the people are trying to debunk this stuff, they're all Masons too. If you look at the background, the kind of books they have on the shelf, how they have their signals that they do, they're always going to give hand signals. It's a dead giveaway. They have to do that, folks. It's part of what they do to communicate to each other. It sounds silly and absurd, but that's how they roll. They've been doing this for longer than we've been alive. And with everything going on in the world, and everybody saying the word conspiracy, which is a made-up word by the CIA to debunk the JFK assassination, anybody that wanted to look into it was labeled that, and that's what they do. They put labels on people so people can't find the truth out. So I'm to the point, and I'm going to let you know, if you're a truth seeker and you just want to know the truth just for your own means, so you know how to prepare for things, because you're not going to stop this. God's going to stop this, but we aren't going to stop it. But it's good to know what you're up against, okay? That's what we're doing. We're getting information, and we're trying to learn about the true history of our culture, and that includes everybody. Why things are happening, because if you don't know these types of truths, you won't know that the reason why this stuff's happening is it's been going on for centuries, and it's just now with modern technology we can expose this stuff. So let's go listen to what this
his agreement and promise. The KHAZARIan king and his inner circle of oligarchs kept practicing ancient Babylonian black magic, also known as secret Satanism. This secret Satanism involved occult ceremonies featuring child sacrifice, after bleeding them out, drinking their blood and eating their hearts. The deep dark secret of the occult ceremonies was that they were all based on ancient Baal worship, also known as worship of the owl. In order to fool the Confederacy of Nations led by Russia that were watching KHAZARIan, the KHAZARIan king.
Okay, do you hear about the owl? Now, if you remember when Alex Jones first came on the scene, it was about him breaking into one of these, the Bohemian Grove. And what do they worship? An owl. See what I'm saying? This stuff is deeper than you can ever imagine. So by knowing this knowledge, if you'd have known this knowledge 10 years ago or 15 years ago when Alex Jones first came out, you would know he's a psyop. You'd be like, okay, this guy knows about this stuff because he's involved in it. You know, and also that, you know, he's allowed, you're not sneaking into that. They let that happen, okay? They let him film that. Okay, you don't sneak into places like that. This isn't the movies. You're not Tom Cruise doing Mission Impossible. These are real, you know, this is real life stuff. And, you know, even people that got military channels will tell you you're not sneaking into places like that, man. You have to, you know, be in on it. So let's just get back to it.
Melded these Luciferian black magic practices with Judaism and created a secret satanic hybrid religion known as Babylonian Talmudism. This was made the national religion of KHAZARIan, and nurtured the same evil that KHAZARIan was known for before. Sadly, the KHAZARIans continued their evil ways, robbing and murdering those from surrounding countries who traveled through KHAZARIan. KHAZARIan robbers often attempted to assume their identities after they murdered these visitors, and became masters of disguises and false identities, a practice they have continued even to this very day, along with their child sacrifice occult ceremonies, which are actually ancient Baal worship. 1200 ad. Russia and the surrounding nations have had enough and take action. About 1,200 AD, the Russians led a group of nations surrounding Khazaria and invaded it, in order to stop the Khazarian crimes against their people, which included kidnapping of their young children and infants for their blood sacrifice ceremonies to Baal. The Khazarian king and his inner court of criminals and murderers came to be known as the Khazarian Mafia, KM, by neighboring countries. The Khazarian leaders had a well-developed spy network through which they obtained prior warning and escaped from Khazaria to European nations to the west, taking their vast fortune with them in gold and silver. They lay low and regrouped, while assuming new identities. In secret, they continued their satanic child blood and sacrifice rituals, and trusted Baal to give them the whole world and all its riches, as they claimed he had promised them, as long as they kept bleeding out and sacrificing children and infants for him.
It spread out to Eastern Europe.
Yiddish is a Germanic language with several million Jewish speakers, today mostly in Israel and the United States. A distinct Jewish culture known as Ashkenazi appeared by the 10th century in Germany and surrounding areas.
They spread to Russia and eventually crossed the sea to the United States. And they are at the heart of the revolutions which transformed Europe from Christendom into modern Western civilization. They are at the heart of the Bolshevik revolution in Russia, which overturned Christianity in Russia. They are the heart of the French Revolution, in consequence of which the back of the Christian church is broken. And they are the heart of the creation of the Zionist movement. It is these Khazar, Jewish and Christian, who now move to the Holy Land, assisted by a strange and mysterious Jewish Holocaust. And the history of that will one day be revealed. How much was their input into the Holocaust?
The Khazarian king and his court mafia plotted eternal revenge against the Russians and the surrounding nations that invaded Khazaria and drove them from power. The Khazarian mafia invades England after being expelled for hundreds of years. To accomplish their invasion, they hired Oliver Cromwell to murder King Charles I, and make England safe for banking again. This began the English Civil Wars, which raged for nearly a decade, resulting in regicide of the royal family and hundreds of the genuine English nobility. This is how the City of London was set up as the banking capital of Europe and launched the beginning of the British Empire. The Khazarian Mafia, KM, decides to infiltrate and hijack all world banking using Babylonian black magic, also known as Babylonian money magic or the secret art of making money from nothing, also using the power of pernicious usury to accumulate interest. The KM used a vast fortune to enter into a new system of banking, based on secret Babylonian black magic money magic that they claimed to have learned from the evil spirits of Baal, in return for their many child sacrifices to him.
Now, the Book of Enoch, I just want to say, Book of Enoch explains what's going on with some of these angels that fell. They knew witchcraft, spells, and of course, Satan being the leader of them. That's what they're talking about. They taught these people how to be conniving and be it's evil, like this lady was saying. All civilized societies abolished usury. You can't charge people a huge amount of interest on borrowed money like that, because what you're supposed to do as a rich person is you lend out money to to people to start companies, so that the community would be better, and then people would have more money to buy your products also. It's a win-win situation for everybody. That's how communities are built. That's how strong nations are built. And you build your own products here, and you teach your children about proper history. All the history combined, every history should be taught together. They're very good at what they're doing. They've been doing this for a long time, centuries. Even in the Bible, over 2,000 years ago, they were called out for this type of stuff that they're doing. the evils, the wars. They're on both sides. They make money no matter who wins, you know. And they set up this fractional banking, which is a Ponzi scheme. There's nothing that backs any of this money. And, you know, you and I can use it now, but there's no gold or silver, and the petrodollars, you know, being taken out. So there's nothing backing this stuff, folks. And it's designed to crash, and they win no matter what happens. So it's a win-win situation for them. The only way they do not win is what Russia and the other countries are doing, and that's breaking away from this type of banking system and putting gold and silver behind their currency. You know, that's how you destroy them. And you have, you know, if you get, you know, like when you got China and India and Russia together, the three biggest countries in the world, you know, population-wise and size, you know, it's going to be hard to beat them. So they're going to have their hands full. And, you know, Putin is a Christian, and he's a tyrant too. He's done bad things. He's not perfect. And, you know, he's done really, really rotten shit. But that war is a religious war, folks. It isn't about money. It isn't about land or nothing. It's about the people themselves, you know. So let's get back to this.
This Babylonian money magic involved the substitution of paper credit certificates for gold and silver deposits, which allowed travelers to travel with their money in a form that offered easy replacement should they lose the certificates or have them stolen. Interesting how the very problem that was started by the KHAZARIANs also had a solution provided by them. Eventually the KHAZARIAN king and his small surrounding court infiltrated Germany with a group that chose the name the Bowers of Germany to represent them and carry on their Baal-powered system of evil. The Bowers of the Red Shield, which represented their secret blood-based child sacrifices, changed their name to Rothschild, aka Child of the Rock, Satan. The Rothschilds, as the front men for the KHAZARIAN Mafia, KM, infiltrate and hijack British banking and then hijack the whole nation of England. Bower, Rothschild had 5 sons who infiltrated and took over European banking and the City of London's central banking system through various crafty covert operations, including a false report of Napoleon winning against the British, when actually he lost. This allowed the Rothschilds to use fraud and deception to steal the wealth of the English nobility and the landed gentry, who had made business investments with the City of London banking institutions. The Rothschilds set up a private fiat banking system that specialized in making counterfeit money from nothing, charging pernicious usury for the British people, using what should have been their own money. This was the black art of Babylonian money magic. They claimed to insiders that such technology and secret money power was provided to them by Baal, because of their frequent child bleeding out and sacrifices rituals to Baal. Once they had infiltrated and hijacked the British banking system, they interbred with the British royals and infiltrated and completely hijacked all of England and all its major institutions. Some experts believe that the Rothschilds genocided the royal family members by staging secretly managed illicit and adulterous breedings with their own KHAZARIAN men in order to replace the royals with their own pretenders to the throne. The KHAZARIAN Mafia, KM, wages an international effort to eradicate kings who rule by the divine right of God Almighty. Because the KM claims to have a personal partnership with Baal, aka the devil, Lucifer, Satan, because of their sacrifices to him. They detest any kings who rule under the authority of God Almighty because most feel a responsibility to make sure their own people are protected from infiltrators and treasonous enemies within the gates. In the 1600s, the KM murder the British royals and substitute their own fakes. In the 1700s, they murder the French royals. Right before World War I, they murder Austrian Archduke Ferdinand to start World War I. In 1917, they assembled their KM army, the Bolsheviks, and infiltrate and hijack Russia, murder the Tsar and his family in cold blood, bayonet his favorite daughter through the chest and steal all the Russian gold, silver and art treasures.
Ashkenaz was the medieval Hebrew name for Germany. Their language is mostly Middle High German, but is distinctive because it is written in Hebrew characters and has some Hebrew and Slavic words mixed in. The Russian Empire at one time hosted the largest population of Jews in the world. Within this territory, the primarily Ashkenazi Jewish communities gave rise to the Bolsheviks, who had engineered the Russian Revolution of 1917 and had managed to kill, in the process, some 66 million Russian Christians. Although anti-Semitism has a long history, arguments can be made, and are being made, that a large degree of it in relative modern times was in direct reaction to the horrors brought about by the Jewish communist philosophy.
Right before World War II, they murder the Austrian and German royals. Then they get rid of the Chinese royals and disempower the Japanese ruler. The Khazarian Mafia's intense hatred of anyone who professed faith in any god but their god Baal has motivated them to murder kings and royalty, and make sure they can never rule. They have done the same with American presidents, running sophisticated covert operations to disempower them. If that doesn't work, the KM assassinates them, like they did to McKinley, Lincoln and JFK. The KM wants to eliminate any strong rulers or elected officials who dare to resist their Babylonian money magic power or their covert power gained from their deployment of their human compromise network. The Rothschilds create international narcotics trafficking on behalf of the KM. The Rothschilds then covertly ran the British Empire and crafted an evil plan to recover the vast amounts of gold and silver the British had been paying to China for its high-quality silk and spices that were unavailable anywhere else. The Rothschilds, through their international spy network, had heard of Turkish opium and its habit-forming characteristics. They deployed a covert operation to buy Turkish opium and sell it in China, infecting millions with a bad opium habit that brought back gold and silver into the Rothschild coffers, but not to the British people. The opium addictions created by Rothschild opium sales to China harmed China so much that China went to war on 2 occasions to stop it. These wars were known as the Boxer Rebellions or the Opium Wars. The money the Rothschilds gained from the sale of opium was so vast that they became even more addicted to the easy money than the opiate addicts were to the opium. The Rothschilds were the funding source behind the establishment of the American colonies, by incorporating the Hudson Bay Company and other trading companies to exploit the New World of the Americas. It was the Rothschilds who ordered the mass extermination and genocide of the indigenous people of North America to allow for exploitation of the vast national resources of the continent. The Rothschilds also followed the same business template in the Caribbean and in the Asian subcontinent of India, resulting in the murder of millions of innocent people. The Rothschilds start the international slave trade, an enterprise that viewed these kidnapped humans as mere animals, a view that the Khazarians would impose on all the people of the world who were not part of their evil circle, which some called the old black nobility. The Rothschilds' next big project was to start the worldwide slave trade, buying slaves from crooked tribal chiefs in Africa who worked with them to kidnap members of competing tribes for sale as slaves. The Rothschild slave traders then took these kidnapped slaves on their ships in cramped cells to America and the Caribbean, where they were sold. Many died at sea due to bad conditions. The Rothschild bankers learned early on that war was a great way to double their money in a short time by lending money to both warring sides. But in order to be guaranteed
the next time somebody talks to you about slavery, you tell them who started it. It wasn't us. It wasn't white people. It wasn't black people. It wasn't Spanish people. It was one family. The Rothschilds. They're behind all this. They just told you they have all the money. It's like the person that's got the mop, and you have the Monopoly game, and the person cheats, and every time that you win, you're supposed to get paid for them landing on your property. You have to pay them. That's exact. The game's crooked. It's rigged. It's scripted, just like football and sports. That's all. They use that to sidetrack you. Because if people ever woke up to this, like they did back in the day, like she's telling you, and they stood up to this shit, and that's why they hate Russia so much, because they've already defeated them once, but then they went back and infiltrated their country and cost them. The guy said like 66 million people died. And that's just in Russia, not including Poland, Lithuania, or any of the other countries that surround the area. and Germany and too, Germans too. And I'm trying to spread some information out to everybody so that you can make your own rational decisions and don't feel bad that you're working hard and you're barely paying your bills and it's causing you to have arguments in your family. I've seen it going on. It happens in my family too. So I'm not the only person, and neither are you. It's because of these folks. And I'm not one to blame my problems on anybody, but we're talking about a system that you cannot, there's no other choices. You don't get a chance to, hey, I'm pissed off at Breitbart, so I'm going to go ahead and sign up with Spectrum, or I'm going to sign up with Comcast, get different cable companies, or I don't like Metro, I'm going to go to Boost or something. This is they own everything. It's their money. It's really our money. Like they said, what they did to the English people, stole their money from them. They did that to us. They do it to every place. YouTube, it's one family. We're not talking about entire cultural people here. 99.9% of the Jewish people are wonderful, loving people. They're not the problem. It's one family. It's one breed of these idiots. They don't even marry out of their family. They're all married to their cousins, and they're all bloodline. Very rarely. By the way, what's his name? Russell Brand. He was married into the Rothschilds. He was into that shit for a little while. All these people that are on television and in the mainstream media and all that, they're all compromised, man. There isn't any one of these people that aren't compromised. For fuck's sakes, Noam Chomsky is being investigated because he got money wired to Epstein, or Epstein wired him money. And if you haven't seen what's going on with Woody Allen, it is just despicable. By the way, folks, my generation called out Woody Allen in the 80s because he was doing rotten shit with young ladies that were really young. And he even married this one lady that I think he's 40 years older than her, or 35 years or something ridiculous. It's a lot. It's a big age difference. I mean, 20 years I've been in relationships with, older ladies, and also before I met Ashley. But I also, I know people that have been married for a long time, and there's an age difference. But this wasn't done because of love, folks. And this is modern times, just now. And then, there's people talking about it. Breaking Point was talking about it. And that dude, Pat, he looks like an Arabian guy. I forget his name. He's a Christian guy, but he has this channel. He talks about the market and the stocks and stuff. And he had this lady interviewing, about what's going on with the child stuff, trafficking and all that. And he interviewed her, and oh my goodness, it's fucking heartbreaking, And this dude's confessing to it on the phone. He's talking, Woody Allen, that is. So we got Noam Chomsky, that's one of the, founders of, the philosophy, modern philosopher, and well respected. And even though he's a scholar and intellectual person that's been doing this stuff for a while, he's looking like he's a scumbag too. So there's nobody not involved in this shit when it comes to this type of shit on media and the news and all that stuff. Very few people on YouTube are honest. I mean, there's a few true channels. Most of them are on it for the money, and they're just talking about Freemasons like RV Truth. He'll never tell you that the Rothschild family's responsible for this stuff, because some guys just exposed him really bad on Rumble. He actually doxed him. He put his address on there, his phone number, all that shit, and exposed him. He's got relatives that are in the media, and he has relatives that work for the KGB, and he's deep in the Russian stuff. His whole family's from that area. And he lives in San Francisco, and he's been putting out videos for quite some time, but they're partial truth, and it's just a misdirection to get you to follow Freemasons and Jesuits and all that. They're run by these people. That's like arguing with an associate at McDonald's. You're not even talking to the manager. And then the manager, if you know the owner, you just go above them. That's what they do. This is what the chain of command. We're going to go to the head of the snake, and it's these folks. I don't care if they're Freemasons. I don't care if they're fucking Jesuits or whatever you want to call them. I'm sorry about my language. I'm trying not to use so much of that. But the fact of the matter, it irritates me because, you know, I was getting down that rabbit hole too, and I'm like, well, what the hell's it? Where's the end? You know, like, this is just going around in a circle. There's got to be someone higher than them. And the only person higher than the Rothschild family is the devil, which they made a deal with them. With God's higher than all of them, folks. You know, like that's the main person who's going to sort this out. The Lord in heaven. He is the maker of everything. He is our truth, and He is our justice, and He is our love, and He is the shield against this evil. And this is why they hate Him so much and hate Christians, because we are out there trying to be telling you what's happening. And the people that want to say bad things about the Muslims and the Christians, we have a lot of similarities. We don't, like, you know, we're against usury also. And that's why they're attacking these Muslims. I grew up around people of all different cultures, man, in Florida. And I've never met people that are just mean because they're from a certain part of the country or a certain part of the world or whatever, you know. I've met more people from America that suck than I have met people from out of America that are here, you know. But I still love you, every one of you, because you're all my brothers and sisters in Christ, and you're my countrymen and fellow women, and we're all in this together. Even people I have disagreements with. I don't want to see nothing happen to their families, nor to anybody else. We have to stand fast on this and work this out. And the way to do this is not by violence, not by any of the things that other people are talking about on the internet. You need a complete work stoppage. I mean, a complete work stoppage. Everybody in every field has to stop work until these people are held accountable for their crimes. And you can't listen to people on Twitter, congressmen going, well, we got the Hunter Biden thing. Look, dude, 300 of them people are criminals and should be arrested. And when Trump becomes president, because he will, because he's the Antichrist, he's literally going to do everything you folks want him to do. And the Jewish people love him over in Israel, but he is a sheep in wolf's clothing. And when he gets in president, by the 3rd year of his presidency, he is going to try to destroy Israel and take it for himself, literally. And then that's when God intervenes with that, because in the Bible and in the books I read, the casualties are so high that these people's souls are crying out to God, and He has to intervene. Jesus Himself intervenes in that. So that's what's going to start all this, folks. Know that Jesus loves you, and I love you too. And that's why I do these videos. I'm not asking for any money or nothing like that. I'm in a lot of pain. My back hurts me. My legs hurt me. I've been through some stuff with my body. I played, you know, sports, and I worked hard all my life. And I have 2 hip replacements and a plate in my shoulder. And I got back problems. Then I got people saying shit to me when I'm trying to make videos on my, you know, posting on other channels, telling me I sound like I'm drunk. Look, I'm in pain. Okay, if I was drunk, I wouldn't be. I would be happy. And I don't drink because I have epilepsy, and I haven't had a seizure in over 10 years, so I'm keeping it that way. The things that I need to do to make myself better is what I'm doing, and it doesn't involve drugs or alcohol. It involves me. Doing what I can do, push-ups, walk-ins, sit-ups, do all that stuff I need to do, work, you know, sell stuff on eBay, go to my job, spend time with Ashley, spend time with Joshua, spend time with you folks that I don't even see you in person. I just know you from here on my videos that I've been talking to for 5 years or more. So I do appreciate everything. I'm going to do my best to help everybody expose this stuff. But don't be afraid, folks. Just let it go. Let it take its course. And, you know, there's going to be people out there trying to debunk this stuff, but the evidence is overwhelming, and it's 100% facts. And that's what they can't stand. The truth will always be the truth, no matter how many lies people tell about the truth. So